Hi everyone, it's Sal Jade and I'm coming to you live in How to Be Psychic today to answer any questions that you have about your course and to answer any questions you have about psychic development in general. I'm doing a live Q&A and I've already got a few questions that some people have pre-asked and that I'm going to be addressing for you today. Some of these are quite common questions, and if you're here joining me live, you can also ask me some questions. Before I get stuck into it, I would just really love to take a moment to thank the following people: Joanne, Alan, Krista, Maxween, and the lovely Gina Ritchie for your recent reviews on How to Be Psychic on Udemy that you posted. Thank you so much for updating those reviews. I know that we're all so busy and it means so much to me when you can contribute like that, and it motivates me to want to just create more courses. So thank you so much for those reviews, and anyone else that's posted recent reviews, thank you too so much. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to see who's joining me now. It hasn't quite shown me who's joining me. I don't know why, but I'll just let it pop up and see. So the first question, if you want to pop a comment in just to say that you're here, or any questions you've got, we can start doing that now. But first I will address some of the questions that people pre-posted that thought they couldn't make it live. And the first one comes, and the first two are actually quite similar. And the first one comes from Syra, and she says, Sal, I feel like I've lost my mojo and my readings are off, my pendulum's not working. How do I get the magic back into my life? Now, the thing to remember is this is actually quite common, and this has happened to me throughout my psychic career. Like, it goes in and out, and then I have moments where I feel like my magic's gone and I freak out. And Rachel has also written something quite similar. She said, my mojo's not flowing, I'm having a hard time doing a reading, and you know, should she keep trying? Should she take a break? You know, what's the best move when you're in this situation? So I thought what I'd do, like, the first thing is to look at, okay, have you been doing too many readings? Because sometimes if you've been doing a lot of readings, you can actually burn out quite quickly, and there can almost be a little bit resistance in opening up a little bit more. So if you're someone who has been taking on a lot of practice readings in this group or in other situations, then it could be time to take a break. If you're someone who feels like you've been forcing it, like you've just been trying and trying, maybe you've been doing loads and loads of different courses, and you know, you're still not feeling like you're at the level you want to be, I'm going to suggest something that's a little bit out. Oh, hello, Diana. Thank you. Oh, good, perfect. I'm going to answer your question too. So look, something I'm going to suggest, and it's a bit out there, and it's probably a bit different to what you think I would suggest, is instead of giving you more psychic exercises, because there's so many psychic exercises in the psychic reading intermediate level of How to Be Psychic, the next level up, as well as even How to Be Psychic, that what I would suggest is, instead of going, okay, I want to try and get more psychic, take a break and do something like The Artist's Way. So for those of you who don't know what The Artist's Way is, it's a book by Julia Cameron, and it's a 12-week process where just every week you do an hour of creativity. But even starting that process, for me, what I've found over the years is that because it's opening up my creativity, it's also opening up the part of my brain that's very intuitive. And what often happens is I start getting these incredibly psychic insights, even though I'm focusing on unlocking my creativity. So spend some, and the reason I think that works is because you're not trying to force it. You're actually completely focused on something else, which is, okay, I want to tap into my creativity. And because you're tapping into something else, it's almost like that part of allowing that you need to bring in your guides from your angels and to bring in your messages that you need. It comes in because you're not trying so hard. So that would be one of my first suggestions, is trying to get hold of that book and start working through it. The other one is, and again, I've said it before, but I honestly believe when I go into my stuff around my magic and I feel like, oh my goodness, my readings are going funny, I'm not getting the messages I need. So first, attach yourself to this question, like, am I too attached to the question? Or is this just in general that you're trying readings for lots of different people and you're feeling like they're all fuzzy? If you're feeling like you're doing lots of different readings and they're all fuzzy, then what I do is I actually just go in and do a bit of a cleanse on my auric field, a cleanse on my energy. I walk out in nature. I'll sit on rocks. I'll go and sit up on a tree and I'll ask the tree to remove all toxins and dark energy from me. And I will just take some time out of doing that and try that. Go and ask your oracle cards. I know that it sounds funny because I've just said get away from your readings, but ask your oracle cards what's going on, and whatever message they give you, like, pay attention to it. Like, try not to go, oh my God, I've got to get all the answers. Just like, what's a simple thing I can do right now today that will help me feel more connected to my mojo again, and see what comes up. It might be something as silly as, drink some water, or, journaling or anything like that, and really do it and follow it through. Because as humans, we tend to want something that's either super complicated or that's gonna take a long time, or it's gonna, we don't want it, but it often ends up costing us a lot of money. Sometimes actually doing something like really simple like that can help. The third suggestion that I'm going to offer you, and we're going to do it together now, so those of you who aren't live even, you can do it with me. We're going to do some tapping together. I'm a big fan of tapping. Those of you who've done my Boost Your Psychic Gifts with EFT course know how much I use tapping all the time, and I use it before I do readings. I actually, to get myself really focused and to get myself calm. But I'm going to do one with you now. Don't worry if you don't know how to tap and you've never done it before. You can still do it along with me. Don't worry if you don't know the science of how it works. You can still do it along with me. So what you do is you get your little fatty point here, your karate chop point, and we're going to do one on anxiety around having lost your mojo and not feeling that you're psychic enough, because that can pretty much apply to everyone at one stage or another. So you get your three fingers here, and you can just tap. Even though I feel like I've completely lost my mojo, my readings are cloudy and fuzzy, I feel like I've lost my psychic gifts, I don't even know if I even had them to begin with, and it's really making me feel frustrated, and it's really making me feel anxious. I completely love and accept myself and how I feel. Even though I'm struggling to make these psychic connections, my readings don't seem to make sense, I'm not getting any messages, I completely love and accept myself and how I'm feeling right now. Even though I don't trust myself when it comes to giving readings, I feel like I'm just getting it wrong, nothing's making any sense to me, I completely love and accept myself and how I'm feeling right now. And then we tap the points, and I'm going to show you these points here. Just tap along with me. That's your collar point, that's your bra point, and that's your head point. So you just tap this. All this stress, all this anxiety, that I've lost my mojo. My magic is gone. I don't even really know if I had it to begin with. Everything's feeling off. My readings are feeling off, and it's really frightening me. I'm worried that my guides and angels aren't listening to me. I'm worried that I can't connect. Nothing's making any sense to me. Everything feels too hard. I just feel confused. I just feel overwhelmed. I feel like I'm not making any progress. I feel like my mojo's gone. What if it never comes back? What if I never had it to begin with? What if I was just fooling myself? All this fear, all this chaos in my mind that I can't do readings, that everything feels off. I'm struggling so hard to get it right, and I feel like I'm just getting it wrong. I've tried so many different things, and nothing seems to be working. It's frustrating. It makes me feel annoyed. It makes me wonder why this is happening. Maybe I've done something wrong. Maybe there's something I'm not doing right. I really want to shift this energy. I'm sick of having this problem. I want to get better at giving psychic readings. I love giving psychic readings. I love trying to connect with my guides and angels, but sometimes it just feels too hard. I feel like I'm not consistent, and that makes me doubt myself. All this fear that I'm not psychic. All this fear that I've lost my mojo. All this fear that I can't tap into my magic. It's really stressing me out. It's really making me anxious. It's really making me angry. I just want to feel like I can connect now. I just want to be able to connect. I just want to be able to spread those cards and really intuitively know exactly what it is that's needing to be coming through. That feels so hard, and I get so blocked. And it makes me feel like giving up. It makes me feel like I'm just getting it wrong. And then I feel powerless. And then I feel worthless. And then I feel like it's just all too hard. And I want to give up. I feel like the angels aren't connecting with me, that my guides aren't listening, or I just can't hear them. Other people seem to be able to do this, but I'm really struggling. This makes me angry. It makes me furious. It makes me exhausted and overwhelmed. And I want to let it go. I really want to let this go now. I'm ready to let it go. I want to surrender this story up now. Maybe it's not the truth. Maybe I just think it's the truth. Maybe there's something else going on here. I'd like to release that now. I want to let all of this go. Releasing all that fear and all that tension and just letting it go now. And then take a really deep breath in. And breathe out. And then sometimes I'll have a glass of water. And then just tapping this positive. I trust my mojo. I trust myself. I know that I have magic inside me. I know I have these divine gifts. And I'm ready to use them in perfect time. I know I can trust myself when I just need some time out. And I can have time out and still go back in and do amazing readings. I'm ready to trust myself more. I know that I am intuitive. I know I can deliver amazing psychic readings. I'm ready to give amazing psychic readings. I'm ready to open up. I'm ready to tap back into my magic. I'm ready to feel myself connecting with my guides and angels on a stronger level. I'm ready to feel higher in my vibration and to feel more connected to universe and the source. I'm opening myself up now for the best and highest good, even if that does mean taking some time out and trying new things and allowing some space. I trust I can return and feel even stronger in this area. I'm ready to trust my gifts. I'm ready to let go of anything that's blocking my gifts. I'm ready and open and receptive to my intuitive magic. I'm ready to trust my cards, to trust the messages I receive, and to believe in myself. I love myself. I know I'm doing the best I can. I'm ready to trust that I'm doing the best I can. I'm ready to trust that I can connect to my intuition in perfect time. I'm ready to connect to my intuition in perfect time. And just keep tapping those beautiful positives like that. Breathe in and out. And it might take a few hours, but you might start getting some insights into the deeper reasons around why you're feeling blocked, if the reason you're feeling blocked isn't that you've been doing too many readings or that you haven't been forcing it, because I know it can be different for everybody. So try doing that, and try, as I said, this will be saved here so you can go back and do it whenever you want. And there's more of these rituals in Boost Your Psychic Gifts if you haven't done that. But be consistent and loving with tapping. Like for me, I sometimes I go, no, it's just a waste of time. But don't be your own worst enemy. Like keep at it, keep trying, and keep just really loving yourself throughout the whole process. Because what I often find is that people, like one of the biggest problems when you feel like you've lost your mojo is that you go into panic. And sometimes you don't need to panic. You just need to sit in it and go, okay, I've lost my mojo. Okay, it's gone for a while and I'm going to trust it'll come back. And as I said, just divert your attention to something else and allow that space for something else to shift. So I hope those 3 suggestions have helped you guys. As I said, first, look at, okay, am I doing too many readings? Do I need a bit of time out? Second, to give yourself a quick look at something like The Artist's Way, or trying something that opens up your creativity instead, because that can have a borrowed effect on your intuition. Give yourself a little 3-card spread. What do I need to know about my mojo being blocked, and see what they suggest in case there's additional things coming through. And thirdly, just do some of those rituals about just feeling okay that you're blocked, and just accepting and having that surrender to allow whatever you need to learn, and go, okay, what do I need to learn about being blocked, or what do I need to learn about this? And ask that question, and as I said, go out and have a walk and see what comes in. So that is our first. I hope that's helped you guys. Diana has said, you touched on this question in your classes, you're struggling with it. I hope you can elaborate. When you're first starting out, I'm wondering, how do you really begin to start trusting yourself and believing the message you're giving? What's the best way to move beyond the self-doubt or feelings of, did I imagine that, or did I just make that up? The best way actually for me has been, and I know I had touched on it, but I do emphasize spending as much as time as you can before you're doing your reading, just being in the space and, you know, playing with your cards and lighting a candle and just breathing in and out. And sometimes it's those simple things, even like 2 minutes of breath work can actually help you trust yourself. And I do go through, it's so funny, like what happens if I wake up and I know I've got a day of readings, I do sometimes go, oh, what if I get it wrong? And this, or if I've got someone coming who I know is a bit more challenging to read for. And so I just do those tapping rituals like I shared with you then, but I also just sit in the space and be present. And I sit there and I go, okay, I'm feeling uneasy, and I'm just going to trust that I need to, like, this person's coming to see me for a reason. And so what can I teach them? And when you set your intentions on that level, like what can I teach them rather than how good am I going to perform, then it just puts the whole reading on a different vibe, because you're coming from service. And when you come from service, things just can't go wrong. Like you're in your heart and you're like, what can I share with them in this journey and this co-creation together? So by doing that, that's how I started trusting. And it did, you know, it did take time. Like, trust me, that just didn't happen overnight. But I had to really believe that I was put on this earth and I'd been put in this direction of doing these angel courses and taking, like when I first did, whenever it was 13, 14 years ago, Doreen Virtue's 3-day seminar in being an angel intuitive, like I had to trust that I'd been put on that path for a reason, that it wasn't just a pure accident, and that reason was to help other people. And so if you go into that space, then you remove all that trusting your messages, and whatever comes through is what's meant to be there. And as I said, continually do that prayer of every time you pick up your cards, this is going to help, and say their name if you know their name. If Janet's coming to visit you for a reading, I would love everything that comes through today to be connected to Source and the universe and the Creator and my guides and angels, and for it to help her for her best and highest good. So I learned to do that as part of my, like I'm talking every single time, not just, you know, one time, like every single time I do that. And that actually helped me get over the fear that I was going to get it wrong, and that I couldn't trust what was coming through. And sometimes, and I also do preface things with saying, look, even though I know it sounds out there, this is what I'm getting. And so that way you're kind of giving yourself that buffer, because if something comes through that really does sound out there, then say that. So I know this sounds really strange, but this is the message I'm getting. And that way, you know, you're letting your client know that even you're a little bit unsure about what's going on. And that helps you feel a little bit more confident too, because you're acknowledging that it's quite an unusual thing that's coming through. And that way you're not kind of, you know, faking it till you make it. You're not just, you know, waffling to get through a reading. You're actually acknowledging that this is quite strange, but you just feel like you have to share it with them. So they're the different ways that I got through, you know, am I just making it up? And trust your guides, trust whatever comes through, and connect with it and communicate with it, definitely. So I hope that's helped. Lovely. Hi, Jessie. Hi, Donna. Hi, Chantel. Thank you, guys. I have been reading some of your reviews and they have been so beautiful. Thank you. Sarah, thank you. You tapped with me the whole way and you trust it'll come back and you feel like your guide has gone out for a drink or two. Lol. Yes, that's so. I'm often like, are you in Hawaii? Like, what's going on? Where are you? I need you back now. And then I go, maybe I need to go to Hawaii. So beautiful. Well, awesome. Well done. Okay. How many is too many? Oh, readings. That's a great question. Thank you, Stan. I hope I'm saying your name right, Tan. Look, that's a question for every individual, definitely. But if you're doing it, especially in groups like this, where you might not be, you know, it's not someone who's paid you to come and see you. I always say, look, just stick to doing no more than 3 to 5 every few days. Like I'm really a fan of, you know, setting yourself up eventually, if you're going to be a professional, that you don't really want to be doing more than, you know, 10 or 15 readings a week. I really think that that's where you want to aim to get in the long run. People that, like, when I worked in the shop and I was doing up to 17 readings a day, like, a lot of other areas of my life did suffer. I have to be very honest with you with that. You know, be aware, and I see that everyone, these beautiful people in the group that post, you know, I'll do 10 readings, and I kind of go, oh, please don't. I mean, it's up to you to do as many as you want, but when you say, I'm going to do 10 readings in the next 2 or 3 days for people, I go, look, just, you know, do 3 readings in the next few. There's no rush, you know, there's no rush to get to psychic nirvana. It's all about you processing and journaling and trying, but, you know, you don't feel like you have to do 50 readings in a week to get to that many. So I hope that makes sense for you in terms of how many is too many. Don't push yourself. And that's why I always say, when you post an offer in a group, to say the time frame. You know, look, I'm going to do in the next 3 days, I can do 3 readings, or, you know, give yourself time to process the readings. And especially when you're starting off, you really don't want to freak yourself out by having to do too much at once, definitely. So I hope that's helped. Leslie, am I imagining things? Sometimes I smell burning, or there's a burnt smell out of the blue when I'm not burning candles or anything when I'm by myself. That could be a number of things. That could be, I mean, definitely a guide with you, like a spirit guide that's with you, that's trying to connect with you. And, you know, like, you can smell different perfumes, you can smell fruit, you can smell different things like that. So it could be a guide. I would ask your cards that one. I would pull out your little oracle cards and say, okay, is this a spirit guide? And see what cards come out. And if you get something like opening up, or a new guardian angel, or Archangel Raziel, who comes in and talks about spiritual information, then that might be a sign that it's a guide. It could be also a past life thing, where you had a past life with fire. So look for that in the cards as well, asking the cards, you know, is it a past life situation where maybe you had a fire past life and something significant that happened with your psychic gifts and fire. So they could be 2 definite possibilities, definitely. But I never feel like, I mean, I know people go, am I imagining it? It's like, when your brain starts to question those things, just say, well, what's the worst thing if I am imagining it? Like, for me, if I start smelling fruit and I don't know why I'm smelling fruit, and I go, okay, I feel like I've got a guide coming in and something's coming in around me, or it might be a message to eat more fruit, like an obvious literal message, then just, you know, go, okay, well, what's the worst thing that happens if I believe that I'm smelling more fruit? Like, nothing. It's not really going to hurt anyone. So that's what I mean. Try not to second guess yourself too much, and just kind of be gentle and go, well, okay, what could that mean? And being open to it tends to help, rather than saying, am I imagining this? So I hope that clarifies that for you, Leslie. But it definitely, as I said, it could be a past life thing, or it could be something where you've got a guide coming in that's indicating something to you. Katrina, how do I get information to come faster if the information comes in slow or choppy? So automatic writing can often happen with that, help with that. That can often, I find that if I'm doing email readings or any kind of automatic writing, that helps with that because you're putting it on paper, and you know that helps to kind of slow the process down a bit. If you want it to come faster, then definitely I would just say to the angels, look, this isn't coming through enough, but also give yourself a framework of how much information you want to come in. I mean, I guess for me, the way it works is I sit there and it's like, okay, this is coming in now. I'm going to share that information. This is coming through now. I'm going to share that information. I always work on trusting that the information will come in its perfect time. Sometimes it might be just a flash for something and I need to nut it out with my client. I need to say, look, I'm getting a flash of this. What do you think this could mean? Like, don't expect yourself to have all the information all at once. Like, do have back and forths with your clients. Like, really, have a conversation with them and it builds up that rapport as well. Like, don't feel like they're going to judge you if you're having a conversation with them about what do you think this could be and this is coming in. Like, I'm always really open about doing that. So that's what I do if I want it to come faster. But also, I mean, I continually, and I'm, a lot, and that's something that's probably worth considering. And I know you're a professional too, Katrina, but definitely every day I'm doing something to open up my psychic gifts when I'm working professionally. So every day I'm doing some kind of meditation, I'm doing some kind of working with crystals, I'm spending that half an hour before I go into session. Every day I'm doing that, and I find that tends to consistently open me up more and more and more, and that tends to come in more and more. But again, trust yourself and trust what's coming through is going to come through for you. And if you're really stuck, if you're like I really want it to come in faster, then ask it to come in faster. But be aware, because sometimes it'll come in so fast, you'll be like, oh my goodness, I can't process all this information as a human. Like, maybe what's coming in is coming in at the rate it's coming in because it needs to come in at that level. So just ask your angels that. Say, is it that I need it to speed up, or is there something more that I need to know about how information comes through for me? So I hope that helps. But definitely also, crystals for me, tanzanite. Oh my goodness, when I use tanzanite, I just go up to another whole level. So tanzanite's great. Anything like azurite, like using crystals on my third eye, that helps information come in faster for me anyway. So I hope that helps. How often should Mary, how often should I practice with my decks, and should I use multiple decks? I practice a lot, and especially when I was getting started, but I would definitely try to resist asking your decks the same questions all the time. Like, practice with a question and then go away and give it a week or so to see how it unfolds is what I would do. And with your multiple decks, oh yeah, multiple decks are definitely, when I do a reading, I will have 4 or 5 decks on the table and I'll be like, right, which one are we going to play with today? And, different decks will want to come in and play with my client, definitely. So multiple decks are great. Definitely I would use, one deck before a reading, a deck in the middle of the reading, a deck at the end of the reading. So yeah, multiple decks I'm a huge fan of. I love to mix up the energy and bring in different types of guides. So yeah, I'm a big fan of multiple decks, Mary. So I hope that helps. And as I said, how often should I practice? It's completely up to you. I mean, you obviously do have to be practicing, but I always say, look, the more you practice reading on people, and instead of just focusing so much on your own internal journey, the more you will get better. You just will. Like I was figuring it out the other day when I was creating my new course. I was like, how many readings did I do before I actually charged money? And I realized that I'd probably, between my psychic training and my practicing, before I first charged, I think I did roughly about 50 to 70 readings. And which sounds like a lot, but that was the level I got to where I felt like I was ready to start charging. So definitely the more you can practice, the better. Hi, Jenny from Perth, WA, where I am coming tomorrow. I'm going to Perth. I'm going on a family trip and I'm going to Margaret River for a week with my mama for some time out. So I will be heading over to your side of the country tomorrow on that very long flight. It's like nearly a 6-hour flight from Brisbane. So I'm very excited. Welcome. Pleasure, Leslie. Hi, Lynn from Canada. I love Canada, Vancouver and the Rockies. Thanks, Katrina. Awesome. Wonderful. Bibby, the video is not working. Someone mentioned that Doreen, so the video is not working. You might have just cut out for you because of your internet connection. Someone mentioned that their Doreen Virtue deck was not working. And I mentioned this because Doreen does not believe anymore. Is this correct, or is the deck only based on our belief? Thank you, Bibby, for raising this question. I've considered adding a lecture into How to Be Psychic about the whole Doreen Virtue thing, because I do recommend a lot of her cards. So I kind of feel like I now need to verify or justify why it is I recommend her cards, even though she's had this massive conversion to a very different kind of Christianity. So for those of you who don't know, Doreen Virtue has basically come out and said she had a huge spiritual epiphany last January, and she had decided for her that she'd read a passage in the Bible, and it had struck her that any kind of fortune telling, any kind of, like, say, tarot, any kind of working with goddess energy, any of that was all not in the Bible, so she didn't feel comfortable being able to do it anymore. That was her spiritual and energetic choice, and it obviously has caused a lot of controversy and a lot of confusion, because Hay House is still selling her decks. So it's obviously quite strange where people go and buy these decks and go, wow, the goddesses and the unicorns and the mermaids, and we love these decks. And then to find out that Doreen has now rejected them all and doesn't believe in any of it anymore. So I meditated on this for a while, and I thought about this, and I thought, okay, why is it that I'm not giving up her decks? Why do I still love her decks? Why are her decks still really accurate for me? And I realized it's because, you know, her original intention when she created those decks was incredibly, like, her mission on earth at that stage in her life was to activate all these incredible light workers to be angel healers and angel therapists, and to give psychic readings and to help people. And that was her mission. Like, that was her intention. That's what she wanted to do with her life, like so many of you out there. And so for me, I guess I believe that the deck holds that original intention, even though she's changed and moved on. And it might be a really wacky analogy, but the best I came up with was, it's almost like, you know, John Lennon denouncing the Beatles and the Beatles music, but that music still having a soul. You know, we still listen to I still listen to the Beatles, and if John Lennon had have, you know, turned his back on all his previous works, then, you know, would I love the Beatles any less? And the answer is, of course, no. Like, so because the intention was there, whatever light and love was there when we loved that music when it was created, that the intention's still there. So for me personally, I still continue to use her decks, and I still continue to get very accurate readings for them. But I completely understand that for some people that might have changed. So that might have changed for them. Again, it's all personal, and I will admit that I haven't bought a new deck since this Christianity conversion, and I love so much of Christianity personally, but the way that the tarot and things that I'm passionate about have been rejected by Doreen, that has kind of made me go, oh, okay, well, maybe I won't buy any new decks right now. Like, I'm just sitting with that. I haven't bought any recently. I bought this new one the other day instead, this beautiful one called the Gold Lotus that I bought, and I'm just trying out different decks. And I mean, I still use my Doreen ones all the time. I still teach with them. I still love them. But that's where I'm at with it now. And, you know, as I said, I kind of thought that was my situation with it. And I think everyone will have their own version of how they want to deal with this particular situation, because I know it has caused a lot of controversy in the New Age community, this direction that Doreen has gone in. So I hope that helps, Bibby. Is the deck only based on our belief? Yeah, sometimes I totally believe that. Like, for me, my belief system, I believe, affects the readings. Like, if I'm confident in the reading's going to work out great, then of course that's going to come out. So absolutely. The weather's finally getting better in Perth. Yay! Hi, Crystal. Oh, Jenny, you've got John Holland's Oracle cards and you love them. I love those cards so much. Like, they touch my heart so much, those cards. Your deceased family use them to communicate with you daily as well as other means. That's fantastic. Oh, I love that. Yeah, look, those cards are probably on my must-have list, the John Oracle Psychic Tarot. I absolutely love them. I use them in nearly every single reading. Okay, wonderful. Now, I'm just seeing if anyone's got any other questions or comments, please post. And while we're doing it, I'm going to move. Oh, Oh, Tan has, good. I hope I'm saying your name, Tan. Can you let me know how to say it phonetically if I'm saying it wrong? My big apologies. People often say my full name incorrectly too, so I know it's quite irritating. I will address Michael, who, one of the long-term members of How to Be Psychic and Tarot Card Success. He asked me a question. He had his blood boiled up a little bit a while ago because he had read or seen a very prominent psychic medium who had said that when it comes to psychic gifts, you either have it or you don't. So you're either born with it and that's it. You can't develop it. And he wanted to know, and how I feel about this. And my feeling about that is, I guess, I feel like for me, psychic development can absolutely be developed. And in fact, I think some of the most gifted psychics I know never were really that aware of their gifts when they were younger, but developed them when they were older and worked consistently on them. And I remember reading a great book by, I think it was Susan Shumsky, where she talks about her journey with intuitive intelligence and her journey with being psychic. And she said she actually felt personally that she was in a better position to teach psychic development because she wasn't born necessarily with that gift and she had to develop it. And I mean, that's, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But for me, it's like, I feel like you can definitely develop psychic development. I got more psychic with the more I practiced, and I got more psychic with the more that I did exercises and classes and learnt and applied that and opened up more and more. And I mean, people talk about being born with it, and it's like, well, I wasn't even aware of any kind of psychic gifts that I had until I was much, much, much older. So I don't really feel like I was born with it. I didn't have those stories that psychics tell you where from the age of 3 they saw angels every day in their bedrooms. Like, none of that ever happened to me, or if it did, I've repressed it. And so I honestly, in my opinion, believe absolutely that you can develop it. I believe we all have it. I think it's all there, and that's because, like, we are connected to Earth. And like, if you think about animals who live on this earth, they're all super intuitive, and they all know when danger's coming, and they all intuitively know, like butterflies know when to migrate across Mexico, and from, animals have this intuition, and I believe we all have it too. And we just need to focus it and develop it for it to go into those realms of psychic awareness and getting psychic messages. And the other reason I guess I would personally not agree with this idea that you're either born psychic or you're not, like you can't just develop it, is because that would then, for me, suggest that you can never hear your guides and angels, and you're not, like, for me, being psychic is also about connecting with my guides and hearing the voices of spirit, of the universe. And, so being entitled to do that, I feel, is my divine birthright. And I feel like it's all of your divine birthright. And that's what being psychic is. Like, being intuitive is actually being able to hear, or being able to sense the presence, or being able to see signs of the existence of your angels and guides and those who are with us that are non-physical. And so because we all have that ability, then for me, I guess we all have the ability to be psychic. So I hope that makes sense, Michael. I hope that's kind of addressed that question. I know that it is a popular theory out there that you have it or you don't, but I believe we can all develop it, and we all develop it at different levels. And my biggest prayer for everyone is that you are gentle with yourself. Like, you will develop differently because you're unique. You will connect with the guardian angel meditation, for example, differently to everyone else in this group because you're unique. So yeah, definitely trust your journey with being a psychic, and it might not happen all straight away. It might unfold over a long journey of time. Hilariously, my own journey, as I said, I think it was nearly 14, 15 years ago that I did Doreen Virtue's 3-day seminar to be an angel intuitive, to just heal myself. I never intended to be a professional. And from that moment, so that took another 4 years before I decided to be a professional and start reading professionally. So that was a big gap of developing my psychic development. So yeah, absolutely. Like, invest that time in yourself, and you will get more intuitive. You will develop those skills. Now, Tan, I feel a bad vibration about someone, and it seems like the guide doesn't want me to give advice to some person. Should I avoid the person or try to work with the reading anyway? Oh, that's a great question. This actually recently just happened to a very good friend of mine who I'd recommended to someone, unfortunately, and the reading did not turn out well. And intuitively, she didn't feel a good vibe, but she went ahead anyway, and it ended up being a bit of a disaster. Like, this person hasn't paid her. It's not been a great situation. I would say, and I know, look, I don't ever encourage people to lie. I think lying's not great. But if you are genuinely uncomfortable reading for someone, then I would recommend, say, look, it might be better. I feel like if you're better off going to someone else. I don't feel like I'm the right reader for you. And that's because reading has chemistry, you know, like there's definitely, and you might have heard me say this before with psychic readings. Like, I've gone to some psychic readers that people have told me were the greatest psychic reader that ever walked the earth, and I found that they were actually not that great. And, you know, people have come to me that have absolutely loved me and recommended me to someone else, and someone's come to me and I could see they didn't think I was the greatest ever. So, you know, if you have that bad vibe, acknowledge that chemistry between it doesn't mean that person's a bad person. Doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that it might not be chemically the right situation for both of you right now. Spirit might not want to bring the two of you together. So just, you know, just say, I'm really sorry, I don't feel like this is going to work, and just be truthful and just say that you're not really up for this reading, and draw those boundaries with yourself, definitely. Tom, thank you. Tom is fine. I can do Tom. As I said, my apologies. My husband has a complicated name, and so I know how frustrating it is for him when people mispronounce it. And yeah, so Tom, perfect. So I hope that's helped, Tom. Kate, I've been getting pressure in my ears and high-pitchy ringing that will heighten if I focus or ask a question to my guides. This is absolutely the really strong sign of clairaudience. How you can develop it more? Well, first of all, just acknowledge it. Just go, oh, okay, I'm becoming more clairaudient. I'm opening up my clairaudient gifts. And clairaudient gifts can be practiced a lot by just closing your eyes in meditation and asking the question, what is it I need to know? And just listening. And just really being still and being really conscious of the noises that are in the room, and then go, okay, what is it I need to know? And just listening. So that's one way you can develop your clairaudience. I have a whole big list of clairaudience, different skills and techniques you can try in the intermediate level. I'm not sure if you've enrolled in that one yet, the Psychic Readings Intermediate. There's loads of practice activities that you can do there, and there's actually also an assignment that you can do to really enhance your clairaudience as well. So that might also help, Kate, if you haven't done that. But for now, just absolutely, when you're just trying to enhance it, close your eyes. That's the best way to enhance your clairaudience, is closing your eyes. Use your cards and ask questions and just try to hear those messages. So I hope that's helped. Lynn, what do you suggest to increase your confidence in card reading? Okay, so there's a lot of this. I don't know where you're at with if you've done the Psychic Readings Intermediate level. There's a lot of where I address increasing your confidence. But tapping is a big one that I do before I do a reading. I touch my cards. I'm a big fan of touching, closing my eyes, and just seeing what messages come through. That's my biggest suggestion, is just touch it, close your eyes, bring the images to your mind of the cards, and just feel and see and hear what could be coming through, and practicing. Like, please be brave. Practice on as many people as possible. Even if you're getting it wrong, practice on teddy bears, practice on everything. Like, the more you practice, the more you'll gain confidence. That's just, I mean, that's a simple kind of 101 in psychic development. But definitely I love tapping. Tapping for me really relaxes me so that I trust myself. I communicate daily with my guides. Like, what do I need to know to improve my confidence? What am I not knowing? What do I need to shift in my blockages? If you have real serious confidence issues, they could be self-worth issues. So that might be something that you might need to look at working with a healer. I did a lot of work, and I still consistently do a lot of work with spiritual healers when it comes to my own development, because there's self-worth stuff in there that's very deep that can impact on my ability to trust myself and trust my messages. So if you've had past disappointments, for example, in any area of your life, like if you feel like you've maybe failed no, that's a really harsh word, but if you feel like you've not gotten something right or made big mistakes, then doing some kind of self-healing or doing healing with a healer can actually really help you shift out that old stuff so that you feel more confident with the new stuff. So there are a few suggestions of how you can build your confidence, like practice and practice and practice constantly all the time. Touch the cards, close your eyes, and feel and see what's coming through. And also, if you feel like you may have a self-worth issue, then look at working with a healer, or, you know, look at doing some more tapping to try to shift what that could be. So I hope that helps, my love. Jenny, I believe we all have it, psychic gifts. Yes, absolutely. I was brought back to, you were brought back to it through trauma, but you love it. Yeah, absolutely. Like, for some people, the biggest crisis in their life, like the most traumatic thing that ever happened to them, is their pathway to their psychic development. Not everyone, but for me, I think I've mentioned in How to Be Psychic, like when I went through depression, the pathway to that for me was discovering angels and actually discovering that actually I am profoundly psychic, and opening that up. Like, that happened to me through some really intense trauma. So, you know, that could be happening too as well. So yes, definitely, Jenny, if you're going through some trauma at all, then that could be something that you're having a spiritual awakening and walking on the next part of your path. Yvonne, I often get white noise in my ear, like an AM radio. So that also could be a sign that a spirit guide's communicating with you, but it also could be, yeah, your clairaudience is what opening up. So practice clairaudient exercises. And with your cards, rather than focusing when you draw your cards on what the messages say visually, close your eyes and trying to get more audio messages about what's coming through, and that's how I fine tune it. But I also fine tune it, as I said, I know I'm going on and on and on about this, I fine tune it daily with meditation. I walk outside in nature and go, what do I need to know? And I just let that go with my morning coffee and see what comes in. I ask my guides and angels to fine tune it for me. I go, am I meant to be hearing something here? Like, you know, make it a little bit clearer for me. I constantly, and I'm working on this right now actually, so the lecture I recorded this morning for my new course that's coming out in November, it's around psychic health and psychic wellness, is basically I look at how you raise your vibration. So the more you raise your vibration, the more you'll be able to hear things more clearly. So what I would do with that is look at any kind of high vibe activities you can do, like chanting is great, humming is great, singing, anything like that will help you feel more connected to sound, and you'll probably feel that those messages are going to start making more sense. So I hope that's helped, Yvonne. Tom, that's helped. Great. Lynn, awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. So I've got time for one more question if anyone's got anything, or anyone needs a bit more further clarification on anything that I've said. Cool. Oh, Katrina, I like this one. This is good. Any input or thoughts or resources of information on working with a client that has dark spots in their energy in past life readings? I've come across this when working with some clients that have current lifetime mental illness and extreme past life trauma. In some ways, they feel connected, but it's not an attachment. Okay, that's a good one. And look, probably some of the most challenging healings I've ever done have been with people that are bipolar, because the brain is often wired differently. So when you're muscle testing someone who's bipolar, it can be more complicated, because what they see as yes and no can work a little bit differently in the brain. And so if you're working with someone that does have a mental illness and you're working in that space of incredible compassion and grace and trying to help them, and when you feel like there's dark energy, what I do is I ask the angels, and I close my eyes and I call in the angels to actually remove those dark spots for them. And obviously with their permission, as long as and often I don't tell them necessarily what I'm doing. I'll say, look, can I bring in some guides and angels to do some healing on you? And I will I will call in the angels and the guides to come in, to go in really deeply and to just cleanse and purify those dark spots and to help release them. Further resources, so I've got a 10-week advanced tarot program, so I have a whole section in there on the tarot healer and being a clairvoyant and a tarot healer and going in and being an intuitive healer. So I use a lot of different methods and techniques and I show how you do a 1.5 hour session. So that's one resource I can recommend for you. As I said, that's probably my main ones, is I go in and I actually tune into their energy and I ask the angels to go in and release those dark spots to open up space. So I hope that's helped, sweetie. Can your strongest clairs change over time? Absolutely. My clairs are a little bit like pixies sometimes. Yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely. Like sometimes I'm just profoundly in my clairvoyance and I'm reading and all I'm getting is visual. Sometimes I go through stages where I'm really struggling to see anything and I'm just getting lots and lots and lots of hearing. Sometimes I'm just sensing presence. So I'll be just sensing that something's with me, but I can't see what it is, and they're not delivering any audio messages to me. So yeah, they can absolutely change. They play games, I reckon. They can change for sure, Donna. Absolutely. Okay, my loves, thank you so much. I hope that's helped everybody. And thank you. That was incredibly helpful. Pleasure. So this is going to stay here for you guys. You can always come back and refer to it if you need to know. I'm also going to be sending it out as an educational announcement for you. And just a quick reminder for those of you who have joined the Happy 2000 competition, or if you need to know what the Happy 2000 competition is, just tag Mini Sal, and that's my lovely VA Kathy, and write, can you tell me about the Happy 2000 competition? And she'll post the video there for that. That's being drawn, I think, on about the 31st of October. I am away for the next 9 or 10 days in Western Australia, so I won't be on Facebook as much. So Kathy will be your point of call for anything around that competition. But I just want those of you who have entered, so the prize for that is my how to earn more income with your tarot and healing services and how to be a bestseller on Udemy. And if you want to enter that and you want to know more about it, then please just ask Kathy about that. So just type Mini Sal and tag her and she'll get onto that for you. So for those of you that have entered that competition, she has been taking your name, and we're very excited to draw that in when is it, 2 weeks? 2 weeks. Okay, thanks so much for joining me, everyone, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening or the rest of your day. Bye.